welcome back. Here we are with our Chapter 4 first homework assignment, starting our work with ratios, where we are comparing two quantities. So extra practice, if you need some work on this, is textbook page 172, questions 1 through 8. And I believe that's the try instead of the independent practice. So when we're comparing two ratios, we need to make sure we count the numbers. So here we have 7 eggs, 4 broccoli, and the order is important when we write these statements. So the ratio of eggs to broccoli is 7 to 4. Now I made sure that because I have eggs first, I put the number of eggs first, and then broccoli is second. So that order is really important, that you are comparing those quantities accurately there. In a survey, 5 people said they like watching basketball, 9 people said they do not like watching basketball. Our statement is the ratio of like to not like, I'm just going to abbreviate that a little bit, is 5 to 9. Now I know in the answer key here though, it specifies the ratio of people who don't like to those who do like, so they flip-flopped the order in the answer key, but our ratio is still the same. We're still comparing the quantities in the same way. All right, so now questions 3 and 4, state whether each of the following can be expressed as a ratio. If yes, write it as a ratio. If no, make the necessary changes and then express as a ratio. When comparing two quantities, we need to make sure they have the same unit. And so here we have two options. We can either change them to centimeters or we can change them to meters. I'm going to change them first to centimeters. So we have 36 centimeters to 10 meters. When you're making these conversions, the first thing that you do is you need to identify the conversion statement. So that means I know that 1 meter is the same as 100 centimeters. So that means that we are going to have 36 centimeters, and if this is 10 meters, that means we have 10 groups of 100. So our ratio is 36 to 1,000. Now if we were doing it in the centimeter style, we would 36 centimeters to 10 meters. I know that now I'm going to have to flip-flop it. If 1 meter is 100 centimeters, that means that 1 centimeter is 1/100th of a meter. Let that sink in for a minute. If 1 meter is 100 centimeters, that means that 1 centimeter is 1/100th of a meter. You could think of these using fractions. You know, if you wanted to go down that road of 1 whole meter is equal to 100 of the 100 centimeters that you needed. So that means we have 100 centimeters, we needed 100, but if we only have 1 centimeter, that means we only have 1 of the 100 that we need to make a meter. So we have 1/100th as a decimal like that. So here we go. That means 36 times 1/100th is 36 hundredths of a meter to 10 meters, or 36 to 10. All right, awesome. So we have two different options. I believe the answer key only gave it to us in meters there, but that's fine. Now when we look at number 4, our units, we have inches compared to inches, so yes, we can compare, and that's simply 46 to 80, and that tells me that 80 is larger. I want to add a quick note about something that I made a mistake on here. For question number 3, when I converted everything to meters, I ended up here with 36 hundredths of a meter to 10 meters. And when we're dealing with ratios like that, we don't typically leave them as a decimal in that ratio. And that kind of goes back to when we talk about these as a fraction, where if you think of this in fraction form, you wouldn't want to leave a decimal in your numerator there. And so what we need to do is come up with an equivalent ratio that would include just whole numbers. So if we do that, I know I need to move this decimal point 2 places to make that 36 hundredths into a whole number. And so that means I'm multiplying it by 100. And since this is an equivalent ratio, I need to make sure I do that to both terms of my ratio, which would then turn this into 36 to 1,000. And if you notice, that is exactly what we had over on the other side when we converted to centimeters. So regardless of what your unit is, you're going to end up with the same ratio either way if you take that time to turn these decimals into whole numbers in your ratio.